I'm starting it.
It was a week away from my 16th birthday. My brothers, my sister, and I woke around 6:30 a.m. to get ready for school as normal. I went to the TV to turn on the weather to check for the day, and instantly my normal day was changed. I'll never forget those who lost their lives on September 11, 2001. Now consider this fact made by Kevin Finneran, editor-in-chief of Issues in Science and Technology in 2001, that the day that 3,000 people lost their lives in the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, more than 8,000 people lost their lives of AIDS, 5,000 people lost their lives of tuberculosis, and several thousand more lost their lives of malaria. Poverty is a growing epidemic that is widely overlooked. First, I will go into some corporate influences on poverty. Next, I will go into contributing factors of sickness and diseases associated with the impoverished. And last, I will go into some outcomes for the impoverished. So first, let me go into some corporate influences for the impoverished. A few ways corporations influence poverty are by expansion and by marketing of hazardous goods overseas. Expansion fuels the creation of TNCs, transnational corporations. This happens when corporations expand outside the boundaries of their governing country. An article written in 1992 by John Dobson, Associate Professor of Finance at Cal Poly, titled Ethics in the Transnational Corporations, The Moral Buck Stops Where, states, primary incentives for transnational corporations to expand into developing countries is the availability of low-cost labor, and the need to exploit natural resources. This is easily understood by looking at your clothing tag. Rarely you'll see a tag that says made in the USA. Another way corporate expansion affects poverty is it increases the inequality gap between the rich and the poor. In an article titled Why U.S. Jobs Move Overseas, written in 2007 by Phyllis Scaffery, a national leader in the conservative movement, states, why do U.S. companies relocate plants overseas, thereby abolishing U.S. jobs? A, they can hire workers at lower costs, like 30 cents an hour in China. B, they don't have to pay employee benefits. C, they don't have to comply with safety and environmental regulations. Or D, they don't have to pay foreign taxes on exports back to us. The answer is all of the above. This is a product of capitalism, by where corporations maximize financial gain, making the rich richer faster and the poor become poorer faster. Corporations also affect poverty by marketing of hazardous products overseas. This is no new debate. Steve Cole, an author from the Washington Post, sums up an argument for the marketing of hazardous products in his article titled, Free Market Intensifies Waste Problem, Rich Nations Dumping on Poor Ones, published in 1994, stating, economists, traders, and multinational corporations see waste as an emerging global resource because it has value and can often be traded as a commodity. Corporations see this as a way to generate profits and maximize financial prosperity. Another article published in 2007 in the Washington Post, authored by Perry Godspell, an executive director at Occupational Knowledge International in San Francisco, argues his view about the marketing of hazardous toys, writing, the Commission does not actually require the disposal of these products. In some cases, the agency has instructed consumers to throw away the lead-containing products, instead of requiring the offending companies to take them back in, and in all cases, they allow the returned products to be exported to countries with weaker consumer laws. Impoverished tend to be in the list. Next, I'd like to go into some contributing factors of sickness and disease. A couple of factors contributing to sickness and disease are inadequate water supply and lack of medicine. Consider these facts taken from World Almanac, Book of Facts 2009, stating 17% of the world's population, about 1 billion people, lack the access to improved water sources. And another fact from water.org stating 3.5 million people die a year from water-related diseases. Two common diseases are diarrhea and malaria. 14-month-old Abigail Charlotte survived Haiti's cataclysmic earthquake, but not its miserable aftermath. Brought into the capital's general hospital with fever and diarrhea, little Abigail literally dried up. Story posted on WBBM780.com in 2010. Also stated in World Almanac Book of Facts 2009, diarrhea accounts for 1.8 million deaths a year, which 88% are attributed to unsafe water, sanitation, and hygiene. All of these attributes are found in impoverished areas. Another issue is malaria. A quote taken from FAFCO.org in 2010, written by Paula Dappin, former NGO director of FAFCO, states, over 60% of the world's population lives in malaria-infected areas, and malaria kills a child every 30 seconds. This disease runs rapid in sub-Saharan Africa. Finally, I will address typical outcomes for the impoverished. Along with being exploited by corporations and disease, impoverished can look forward to a few other things. A quote made by Aristotle, published in the New International Dictionary of Quotations, reads, "Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime." Research shows that among the extreme possibilities are crime and death. Poverty leads to death based on many contributing factors, but mainly the lack of money. Because impoverished lack incentives for help, they are left to fend for themselves. Without money or donations, they are wait to be taken out by the next epidemic. Due to the lack of finances, impoverished are also subjected to malnourishment. A fact posted on worldhunger.org states about 1 billion people a year are undernourished. Combine this with inadequate water supply and the subjectability to disease, and this is a recipe for death. Another outcome for impoverished is subjectability to crime. In extreme cases, poverty fuels terrorism. Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, and Nigeria are all countries with large Muslim populations. The other thing that they have in common is they're all wrecked, anarchic, dirt-poor countries where millions of people have no hope. Terrorism doesn't need a terrorist, it needs a following. Written by Paul Wells in 2010 in an article titled, "It Takes Effort to Miss the Trend Here." So let me sum this up. So far, we've gone over corporate influences on the impoverished, contributing factors to sickness and disease among the impoverished, and typical outcomes for the impoverished. I hope you all understand, poverty is a growing epidemic that is widely overlooked. And before I leave, I want to leave you guys with one last quote, made by Hershab Murshanov, U.S. aide in the fight against terror and former Pakistani president, stating, "An element that causes human deprivation, leads to crime, and can lead to terrorism is the denial of basic human necessities, food, water, and energy to the masses." Stated, made in the height of Indian Wells in 2010. Peace to the troops.